All right, you guys, and we're going to go ahead and start. I think there were about 30 registrants. We've got 30 participants now. I'll check in a little bit and see if anybody else is on, but I'm going to let it be for the moment. Welcome, you guys. Welcome to the call. My name is Stephanie Zasyakina, in case you don't know me and my voice yet. I'm the director and founder of InReach Solutions, and generally the person that's going to support you in implementing the system. So welcome. Today we're going to try something brand new. We're calling it the Get It Done. And we're going to actually build the client portal with you. So some general housekeeping that we want to talk about is one, we would really like you to have Zoom open so that you can see me if you're looking at me, but you can see the screen and you can see my screen when I jump into some of the systems and start looking for things and building things. We're going to ask you to go ahead and mute yourself when you're not speaking, please. But unmute yourself and make sure you know how to do that when that'll be on your Zoom piece on the Zoom functionality, and there's like a little mute button. Mine's over on the left. Jess, will you let us know? Is it our picture up here? Okay. Yeah. It would be awesome. I mean, what do I think we're going to have you do? There's a lot of agencies on today that have many people from the agency on. I assume everybody is an admin that's on. That may or may not be true. So that's going to be something that you'll need to consider. I am talking and making this presentation primarily to SAM admins. So the visibility that I show is going to be really, really close to what an admin has, not necessarily a SAM user, okay? Everyone in your team should locate what I'm talking about on your system, but as a team, go ahead and dedicate one person to start building it, because you don't want 10 family portals, right? We want one family portal, and we'll talk a lot about all the decisions and the kind of conversations you want to have as a team. But you don't want a whole bunch of family portals. You want one. Next thing with Zoom is to go ahead and familiarize yourself with the chat. And send bottom of the middle of the screen there. Yep. Okay. Thanks, Jess. And there's we want you to send the chat to your message to everyone if possible. So instead of just sending direct to me, send it to everyone, because Jess is going to be my backup in helping me answer some of those questions and sort of make sure that we're getting to everybody. But it also is helpful for everybody to see what everybody else's questions are, because then, yeah, that's helpful. Ask questions there. There is an option in Zoom to like raise your hand, but I think we've decided, even though I've got it written here, we're not going to really use that so much today. If we notice it, we'll use it, but let's just go with chat and asking questions. Right, and Jess going to let me know. The screen share can be larger, and because I have a different visibility than Jess does, I'm going to let Jess talk about that.
Most of you may already know this, but if you're in your full screen of Zoom, or even in the not full screen, on the right side of the screen share, there's a vertical line, and you can actually grab that line and pull it to the right and make the screen share bigger and the people on the call smaller. So that might help if you're like trying to get real close and stare at that screen.
And the last thing that I'm going to talk about here in housekeeping, I guess unless anybody has questions here, maybe we want to take a minute or two for that, but we will post the webinar. So let me double check. I want to make sure, I'm recording. Oops. And, but it's going to be posted in the help guides. So the help guides are the help button at the top of your screen. You can also get there through support.inreachsolutions.com. Both of those you can bookmark it, but you always have it in your SAM site also. And there is a link called webinars inside of the help guide, and we're going to post them in there. And you can see all kinds of other webinars that we've recorded for your perusal as well. Okay. Let's see. Just real quick before I jump to that, does anybody have any questions with, just the basic housekeeping at all? Is anyone struggling with any technical issues that we can maybe address? Okay. All right. Yeah, me either. If you have any, just write it in the chat. Of course, if you're having Zoom technical issues, you may not be able to get to the chat. And so then you can use this webinar later. What are we going to do? Cool. Okay. So the agenda today, we're going to be, I'm hopeful that this is full. But we're going to sort of put a container around what we're going to talk about to make sure everybody starts here at the same spot. So depending on how long you've been using SAM, we're either going to teach you to locate the family portal where it exists in your site, or we're going to create it. Some agencies just don't have it because they've been working with us for like a decade and we just didn't have it built out the same way that we have now. So if you don't have it, we'll build it together on the landing page is what we're going to be building. Build it together today, because really even the building of that is available for you for other types of forms that you might want to build for your clients. Okay. So this is so open-ended as to what you want to do. We're going to show you how to build a public form that's a view form and sort of talk to those concepts out there. We are going to add fields to the form. So that's going to feel really familiar to some folks and brand new to others. So we'll talk through that. Customized messaging. So this is our master site. We're going to get used to, you seeing this. I think some agencies that may have started this year or agencies that started even last year may have it looking exactly like this. So we'll look at what kind of messaging you can add. How can you change it? You've got different options for that. Then we will talk about testing, because you need to be familiar with what your families see. And so how do you access that? And then the last thing we'll talk about, last two things really, are some of the decisions that you need to make to take next steps, some of the actions that you guys can take as a team after we get off the call. And then we intend to have more calls like this monthly, so long as it works for everybody, right? So we would love your feedback on that. We'll send out a survey and things afterwards to find out if this was actually helpful for you. But we'd like to talk about some of the ideas of what other folks are putting on the client portals where they've got them implemented. And then sort of take a vote on where do we want to focus our time for the next call where we're doing I have another call next month, another 2 calls next month that we'll talk about towards the end. Okay, so the first steps are going to be locating the portal, and then this is sort of giving us instructions, and I'm basically going to show it to you. So at this point, what I would hope that you can do is sort of use Alt Tab on your computer, or gosh, I'm not a Mac user, so whatever the hotkey is, or just kind of drop Zoom down and open up your SAM, listen in, but be in your site as well to locate this. And I'm going to start to walk you through. Okay, so I'm on a home page of my SAM system. And the first thing I'll do to locate and just determine if you've got it here is we're going to access settings. So from the home page, you can see settings at the top, or you can see settings on the sidebar. Both settings links are going to take you to the settings page. From here, under system settings is a link called public forms. Public forms are external facing forms that are going to be for end users. End users is our term to describe your clients. Could be families, it could be adoptees, it could be donors, it could be volunteers, it could be other organizations that you work with. Like, it can be lots of different folks, but it is anybody who isn't a direct user and have access into your site, but they will interact with your database through public forms, okay? All public forms are forms in the database. They are located here though, just for ease of finding them in a separate spot. Okay, this may be the first time that you've seen this screen in your site. So if it's new to you, all of these links here that are vibrant in their color are public forms that are enabled. They are live. Just because they are live doesn't mean that anybody knows how to access that. Okay, so but they are ready to go in the way that they are organized now, if you choose to use them like that. Let's see, as opposed to, I don't even have any that are disabled. Sometimes in older sites, you'll see a list of forms. Let me see if sometimes you'll see additional forms at the bottom that are in a smaller, probably about this font size, smaller gray. They're, set down, they're recessed on purpose because they are disabled. I am a big fan of cleaning up the site. If there are forms on here you are not ready to use, I am a real big fan of disabling them so they are out of your way. Okay. All right. So let's locate the family portal. In newer sites, it will be listed as family portal. Okay. And you will see it really big and bright, and then an edit link. I'm going to pause right there to just maybe take a moment and see if nobody's mentioned anything in chat. Curious if anyone does not see that, or does everyone see family portal? I'll give that chat a few minutes to kind of warm up and stuff. Cool. Okay. So I am going to show you here two things on public forms. So edit is how we're going to access the form customizer. That is how we will manage and modify that form. If I click on family portal right here, this is going to actually open it up. This is the link up here that you would add to your website or insert in a template, things like that. Okay. All right. And I'm seeing a couple folks. Cool. So about 4 agencies don't see it. And they are, like I said, sort of like agencies that have been using SAM for several years. And we just decided to build it a couple years ago. And we don't push everything out to everyone all the time, because we're not really trying to affect your site without you knowing it as much as possible. Let's see. Okay. That's what I want to say about that. Yep.
Is family client form that Bethany has there, is that the same?
It's going to depend. Bethany, do you want to share your screen? Let me allow you. I'm going to cancel this. Let me make sure you're allowed. I'm going to stop my share and make sure you are. Hide that. Where's my event sharing options? All participants. Bethany, if you want to share your screen with us, that would be super helpful for me to pinpoint. And it'll be helpful for everyone else to sort of look at and determine if they've got it, but got it listed as something different.
Oh, parent says they have that too.
Yep, family client form. So yeah. Oh.
Anthony, on the bottom of your screen, if you have it expanded for Zoom, if it's the whole screen, on the bottom, you'll see share screen.
She sees it now.
Oh, okay. And then you can unmute yourself too, if that helps.
Go ahead. Yeah, that is it. That absolutely is it. And at some point, somebody maybe changed the title of it, but yes, that is exactly what that is. And so if anyone else has it, what you'll do, what Bethany did is she clicked on. Yep. Okay. And we see that, Michelle, and other folks that don't have it. The next step I'm going to do is go and build it for you. Or I'm going to build it and y'all are going to build it potentially at the same time. Bethany, if you would click on the edit link that's to the right of it. Yep. Click there. That's going to take us to the form customizer view, which this is what we're going to build with everybody that doesn't have this type of portal. And the thing is you will be able to build this, like I said, like it does not exist for a volunteer. So if you're using volunteers, you can build this for your volunteers as well. You can build this for like people you contract with under the person record or under the organization record, all kinds of things, okay? Awesome. Okay, so I think, let's look at this. Cool. I think that Karen, I can't see exactly which Karen that is, but my assumption is this is what you've got. This works for you too. Yep, it's Karen Casper. Cool. I can see your name now. Cool. I am going to take back the screen. Yep. Yay. Oops.
Yay, technology working.
Yay, right? Totally. That's so great. Okay. I'm going to mute you now, Jess, and then you can unmute just because I heard somebody's car, some car going in the background, whatever. Okay, cool. All right. So for those folks who do not have it, do not despair. We will be building it. Okay. So, to build it, let's go back to settings. So from public forums links, you can get there or you can click settings at the top, whichever works. If you click settings at the top, it always opens in a new tab. So just be familiar with using tabs in your internet or in your internet browser. To build a new form, you'll go to Form Customizer. And from here on the sidebar, there is a link called Create New Form. From here, we're going to select the base entity. And for this conversation, with most of the agencies that I've spoken with, having the families interact and provide you documentation and share information that you guys can see internally with them is going to be a huge benefit to the families and to your team, because there's a lot of email correspondence going around. So we're going to focus all our conversation on the family at this point in time. So we're going to click on family. This is what's telling Sam that we're building it about the family. Now, I guess I should pull back one step. I can't go backwards at this point. I'm only going forwards. But if you are a foster family agency, or a foster care agency, you may not be using the adoptive family link there. You may actually be using the foster family link. So if you have questions about that, you can let us know. But just choose which one is going to make most sense for you. Either way, the next thing that I want you to do is click the case table. I believe under the foster family, it's called foster family case. Under the adoptive family, it is just the case. This needs to be built on the case because if a family ever comes back to adopt or foster again after kind of taking a hiatus or whatever reason, you have multiple cases for your families. It allows Sam to use that case navigation field to toggle between the cases. The family can do this just like your team does. So build it on the case. At this point, to be honest, I am probably going to have some fields here that are not the same as you. Generally, those fields are listed as developer. And to be quite honest, I don't even know what this does. So you'll see that happen for me. What I want to talk to you about, though, is what we have in common and what you need to do. So let me focus there. So the form name, you can title this whatever you want. We love Family Portal because it's very clear what that is, but you are welcome to use whatever naming convention works for you. Okay. Ugh. Michelle, don't make me think about, well, you know what? Michelle, I'll actually ask you to share your screen if you would. That would be helpful. Then that will help me trigger what you're using. I don't remember, to be honest, unless I'm in your site. But what you guys will do here is type in Family Portal. I'm going to put a big 2. Cool. Okay. And then the difference between the form name and the form title. Form name is your internal name, right? This is what your SAM admins see. The form title is what your families see. We can say, welcome to the Family Portal. Okay, we can make this more pleasing for them. The next thing that you will do is set this is going to be a view form. It is not a view and add edit. It is a view form only. And then you can affect the orientation. I've tried it with horizontal. I'm not a fan. I don't like the way that it looks. I think of vertical. Yep. And I'll let you know, Michelle. And the last thing I want you to do is click public form, and then you can click save. Now I'm going to let Michelle share her screen so that we can see a foster care agency sort of like, we make adjustments to the database all the time, and I just can't remember. Right. Okay, Michelle. So for you, you're going to use the family link because you've only got it. And I think that it's the foster family just based on, no, maybe it's not. But right. And now I'm confused. I'm looking at it. Huh. I think it is, Michelle. I think you've gone in and changed a lot of the naming. Instead of it saying foster family all the time, it just says family, even though it is, yes, right there where it's like foster family case checklist. So go above, don't click that link, but click the family case. That's what you'll build it off of. And now you'll create it just like I showed just a second ago. So naming it as Family Portal or whatever works for you. You can do the form title. And this is a great view actually, because you can see that some of the options I had, Michelle doesn't have. Everyone that's building these things as a team you've now seen it being done twice. Michelle, you can keep on going from there. If you want, I will actually just tell you what to go. Okay. Were you creating the form before, just before looking at Michelle's site? That went a bit too fast for note taking. Yeah, so remember we're recording this, and Heather Michelle is actually building the exact same thing right now. So she's doing it. So she's entered the form name. She's got the form title. She wants it to be labeled the same thing. Now here you'll click view form. Yep. And the next section down is form layout. The orientation, I think, for this should be vertical. It's better than the horizontal look. And then the last option is the form options at the bottom, and you're going to click that it's a public form because you're not going to link it over there because it's not an internal form, and that option actually goes away when you click public form. Then you will press save. So now we've seen it twice. You've got the webinar recording will be available for you. Now we are all at the same spot, which we'll look at it from Michelle's site, is taking her to the form customizer for this brand new portal page. If, I wonder if, I can't annotate on top of yours. Are you going down? Michelle's looking for it, I guess, or something, in the family portal, but, or in the form customizer list. Yep, you called it family portal, so it's
in there. It's in there.
There it is.
There it is.
Yep. And so it's also, Michelle, if you would go and show everybody, if you click on settings or right here on the sidebar, it says public form links. That's another way to get to public forms, and it'll be here as well. Yep. So you will always see that brand new form now. Guys, once you set your any form you build as a public form, it's always going to be in that public form links. It's just a way of filtering all the forms. Okay. I'm gonna take back the screen. Thank you so much for that, Michelle. And just here, let me do it one more time. So I've already got a family portal, so I'm relabeling this. I chose create new form. I chose it as the family, and then Sam says, well, what table specifically do you want to choose? We put it on the case table. Then you're taken to the screen that I'm on. I am entering, it's a family portal, but I want a different title so it's nice and cute for my families to come in and see. I'm selecting it as a view form. I'm leaving the orientation as vertical, which I'm pretty sure is the default, and then checking it off as a public form, and now I'm going to press save. So we have taken care now of part one of our agenda, is either locating that form or building that new form. And again, this is consistent if we're building this for the volunteers. Or, you know, I want a different portal. Like if an agency that's on, like Nightlight is on, for example, they've got lots of different programs, lots of different countries, lots of different programs and states that they're working with. We are actually for them building, they've got the family portal, the adoptive family portal online, and with their foster family team, we're building a foster family portal for those families. It's going to be different because we don't necessarily want to share the exact same information, and we want different types of forms and things to be available. Okay. All right. So the next thing to do is we're going to add fields to this. What fields you choose are going to be up to you. But I think fields like who is this family is going to be important. I like sharing like who's your caseworker. I like sharing your case program field. And I will also put the case navigation field on so that you can see that. So,
Stephanie, do you want people who had the family portal already to click the edit button and have that open?
Yeah, that would be great.
Create a new one?
No, I don't think that you need to create a new one. So if you've located it, go ahead and open up the edit form, which let me jump to that real quick again. Public forms, you find your family portal and you can click edit. Okay, I'm going to be using this one. I'm clicking it here. What is it? Oh, okay, got it. Because those dashes come before the two. Got it. Okay, so now we're all at the same spot. So if you've located it, you may have fields on it. This next piece is going to apply to you if you want to add additional fields or if you want to edit the fields. So I will actually show that, show all of that to you so that you guys can see that. All right, so add a field. What Sam is showing me is the tables here that are available for us to choose from at this point in time. Because I chose the case table, Sam is going to also include the family table on it. I believe by default, public forms really, let's say like these landing pages really need to be based off the case. There are, and we'll talk about this in other calls up and coming, of how to build public forms based off multi-record tables. Totally different, nuanced conversation. Like, let's save that for there. This is just going to be about case and family. So you've got options here. For those of you who don't know, you can use this as a drop down. You can say, I want to show the family name field, and I can press save. So this is going to be a click by click, one by one field at a time. Works identically the same. Sam automatically creates a section. It labels it as the case because that's what the field is based off of. I will talk about edits to this in a second. I want to show you the other way to add multiple fields from within these two tables. There is this really little link over here that says add multiple fields. Like, let's see if I can see that. scrolling. The point of it being so small was to keep it out of the way. But for those of you who really want to use that, which I use it on a regular basis, it's a little difficult to see on your first 2 or 3 go rounds. So down here at the very bottom, add multiple fields. This is going to give you a listing of every field on the family table and every field on the case table, which is actually kind of nice for you to see, especially when you're new to the system, just to familiarize yourself with what kind of fields are on different tables. We sort of talk about tables all the time. Family table is going to be the, like, who is this? How do I get in contact with that person? Things that aren't going to change. Really high level demographics about those people are going to be there generally. On the case table, however, this is how you're servicing the client. So it is things about your services with them. So from the moment they inquire or contact your agency to the moment that case is closed, how do you categorize your service for them is generally what's there. The other thing, and for some reason, I would say these aren't really great. This isn't the best spot for this, for like the birth certificate, though, but there may be some reason that you want an updated birth certificate on a new case if that case comes again. Honestly, I should probably just move those, is what I should do. But application approved, application received, who's the birth parent linked to the case, when the case is closed, those are kind of things you're going to see on the case. All right, check boxes so that we can choose what are the things that we want to show. We might want to show all their emails and all their phone numbers so they can see what we have on file. We might just want to show just their home email, right? This is going to be up to you as far as what you want to display and how you like it laid out. So what do I have? I have the family name, and family name is no longer shown here because I've already got it on there. I might show address. Again, these things are up to you. On the case, the thing that I'm going to show is the case program, and I'm going to show this family case navigation field. Press save. I can do this as many times as I want, okay? I can go back and add and then edit the ads, right? So I can go back to add. The way that I can remove a field is click here, and maybe I don't want to show them all their phone numbers. Maybe this is not the right spot. Maybe because I'm not going to call them all the time. Whatever you want to do is totally fine, but you can edit how these things are showing up. I want to add something else. So I'm going to add a section. Sorry, I do start to go fast, so I'll try and pull back. I want to reorganize this a little bit, and I'm going to add a secondary section over here called your caseworker. And I press Control Enter to save that or save. Where are those? Katie, if you'll want to be more specific about where are those, I don't know what those means. I'm going to go and add a field, and I'm going to find the case manager field. Case, maybe I've got it listed as social worker. I think I've got this field as social worker or case manager. And this can be any of those. This is really just going to display that person's name at this point in time. Case program and Magnification. Those are on the case table. You do not have to choose a family and a case field. You can choose one or both. I do like you guys having the case navigation on there for sure, because it's based off the case. As soon as you add an additional case, the family can now toggle between, just like you can. Yes, we are recording the session. Yep. Let's see. Is everybody following to here at this point? So adding fields, when you add fields, these are the tables shown. One thing that I haven't talked about in this call, but I have talked about plenty, and we have other probably webinars and guides on, is the difference between tables and tables and forms. Tables and fields are your database. So it is how the information that you're collecting is structured and the relationships between those. Every database in the entire world has tables and fields for how you collect that information. Again, it's the relationship of the data. Forms are how your team or your families interact with that data so that they can do data entry or view the data entry that's been done. So it is literally every time that we're looking at a record. Shucks. Okay, view all. I don't remember who's who in here. This is a form. I click edit family. This is a form. And this is data. This is a field. And this field happens to likely is on the family table. Okay. In our support, I'm doing some, oops, shucks, not the support. I'm sorry, help. Okay. In our help guides, I'm doing a little bit of adjustments to it, trying to make it easier. Let me get in here. It's actually this link here. For you guys, it won't go into our site. It'll go right here is where you'll be taken to. Tables and fields and lists versus forms, user forms and public forms. I actually think my information is here, and I'm going to move the table here, or the video here, up under tables as well. But form customizer in our overview, this guide talks about the difference between tables and fields. I believe also, Jess, correct me if I'm wrong, over in InReach Solutions in Get Started, I think in this guide, we talk about tables and fields as well. There's a video in here as well. Yay! You started. So this video here also talks about it. Tables and fields. We're really trying to help you guys understand because database administration is not necessarily what everybody went to school for here, right? It may be brand new news to you, and whatever. It's important for you guys to know in order to build the system. It's just the difference in our terminology. Okay. Is that clear as mud? Let me go in here and add another field. I'm just going to stick in, a cell phone number. That'll be fine. Whatever I want to show. One thing to note here is every time you add a new field to a form, any form, it's always added at the very bottom. In the bottom right is where you can look for it. When you add it, you can go and move it. So I want to put that up in the case, and maybe I want to put that up in number 3. Okay, so that things are organized. Maybe I want to move this over to your caseworker, and maybe I want to put that over here. So I've got my case program. Actually, that all makes sense over there. That actually makes a lot of sense right there. Let's see. Can you show adding the caseworker again? Yeah, I mean, it's just adding a field. So you're adding a field. Choose another field off the case. I'm not going to show the caseworker because it's already on it, but I can show here's the case stage. So I'm going to add it here or add multiple fields and choose case stage. I'm just scrolling down, click case stage and save. Okay, it goes to the bottom. The other edit that I'll make right here is this feels a little silly to call this the case. The family isn't going to know. It doesn't say it here because that was the default and it's I don't know. What do we want to call it? That was their name.
Can you back up one and slow down on how you got to that piece right there?
Yes. Okay, so I'm going to save this here and then I'll go back to it. These are sections. This box here, this box here. I can edit their position, right? So I could move this over here. I don't know why this sidebar loses right here, but it does right now, but you can just refresh the screen. It comes right back. Okay, so I can edit. If I want to edit the name, you can see as I highlight or hover over it, it turns into a link and I can click on it and I can type in and I can edit this, right, any way that I want. And this is where it gets really personal, right? Or unique to your agency. It's not so personal. It's just how your agency wants to display information. You can label things however you like, and show whatever fields you'd like. You can see I lose the sidebar when I reorder sections, I guess is what it does it on. But refreshing the screen, it pops it right back on. Any
questions?
Yeah.
I think a lot of this will come together once you see it in action. Once we get to that part.
Yeah. And maybe that's a good thing to show right now. Okay, so yeah, let me show, I think I'm jumping ahead of messaging, but that's fine because this is your internal view. We've not yet shown you what it looks like from the family side. There's also some other settings too that we probably want to talk about here that I didn't mention, but we should talk about. Under advanced options, there are so many things here. It just keeps going and going. Try not to get overwhelmed. We will introduce these things over time. There are guides on them, but people have wanted to do all kinds of things and we've added lots of things in. Our role now is really organizing and improving that. If I click advanced options and public forum properties, I can change it was a view or edit. Now, by default, every view form, if it's a public forum, you have to log in. So you're not, what sort of throws me off is some public forms, if they're set as an edit form, they ask, do you want to, is the login going to be required? Is the login, is there an option or is there no login? Okay. And the reason you would have different login settings is because you're thinking about when are you introducing this form to the family. At this family portal, in order to view information, you've got to have a record and it's just the rule. It'd be display. Sam is displaying information at us at this point. So we want to make sure that this external end user, the family for you guys, is logging into their record and no one else's. And that's why a login is going to be required on a view form. If you've got it as an edit form, it will give you different options. Yeah, so I don't know, Heather, if your portal is a view or edit. But this is how you can find out for sure. The family portal, like this landing page, should be set as a view. On view forms, families cannot edit anything. This is a landing spot that's going to give them the ability to see things that you want, and it will take them to forms that can be set as edit forms where they can enter information. But this view landing spot is just for display only. Yes, and she's asking, is the application form an edit form? Yes, it is an edit form. That's what like application forms or like maybe you want to ask the family off in a separate form from the application, who are your guardians? Who are your emergency contacts? Who are your references? Those may be all separate public forms. We will talk about those kind of in other calls, but those will be set as edit forms where the family can actually enter data into the system. The view form is going to be a landing spot. And there could be other reasons why you might want to have a landing spot, like to just display resources for the family. That's it, is just to have a page that has all kinds of resources that they can get to. You might have view forms displaying, here are all of the home studies that we've done for you in the past. So a full list. Here are all the adoptions. Here are all your placements. Here are your placements that are active versus those that are discharged, where it's the information that you want the family to see. It is not the information you want the family to edit, right? So you have to decide, make a distinguishment on what you're going to allow this family to edit. Case program, case stage, you should not allow this family to edit that information, right? The case manager, those are things that are staff only, right? When we used paper forms back in the day, and it's like this section is reserved for staff. That's what we're showing to them, and then the rest of the form would be built as an edit form. Cool. Okay, so now other things under advanced options is this link that'll say open the public form. So there's this. This is going to give us that login page. Now, as far as testing goes, I definitely recommend you have a family record and you create a test record that is yours, that has an email address that you guys can access that email address, and you create a password. I recommend that you go through and do forgot or don't have password and create a password, or you create a password through the application form, for example, where you're asking through a public form for the password. Otherwise, go through with this. There is a sort of like backdoor way, but I don't really want you to do it because I don't really want you to know the family's password. When it becomes like this ultimate drama for the family, I will show you. But for the most part, this works just fine. And this is really how we recommend, because you'll know how to do it. So you'll be able to train your families how to. And it's not really a great idea for your team to have your family's password. I know, I think Jen is on. And so something that she's brought up a couple times, but is the case for the system now, is a family sometimes can have two folks, right? Parent one, parent two, they are using the same password, okay, to access their family record. That's how the system works today. Don't want to say anything else about that. So you'll want a test record. If you don't have a test record, and it's okay for you to see records. Like if you're a full admin, you can see everything anyway. I'm back on this family portal, right? The public forms. Advanced options. We'll go down to really advanced options. And there's open random record. That is going to choose some family record and show it. So this is what we've just built that we can see. Right? This is what the family's view of this public form is. I think, Jess, one of the things that would be awesome for us to do is move open random record right on up with this. I think it's kind of funny that they're all like so separated, like why ever it's there that way. I would like it to be there. I would also like to show table titles up with tables on forms. So, don't get super attached to where our organization is. There is so much going on with the database that it's like your house. You're constantly organizing it, constantly, right? Like, may even just be what humans do, right? But constantly organizing, we are also constantly organizing and making it better. And I'm thinking we'll move those two things up, because honestly, none of these three things here actually have anything to do with payment options. So I think, again, it's sort of our default that things just go to the bottom instead of being organized. So I will make some efforts to get that adjusted into where it's shown. Any questions on how to see what your family sees? Okay. I'm going to go back to...
You'll see that there's some blanks, things that weren't in there, and you can see that the fields that are blank mean that information is not entered in the case file.
Yep. Thank you for that. And these forms, and to that point, these forms are dynamic. So as soon as I go to this family record, I will if I enter a social worker in here, this social worker will be displayed. So let me show you that, right? So this is where these public forums are awesome because you can actually edit the data and that will be displayed. If your family edits data, it'll be displayed internally to you. Who am I? Who am I not in this site? View all. Stick. Is Jess in there? There she is. Stick her in. Okay, so I'm going to go back here and I'm going to refresh this screen. And there's Jess's name. Let me show you this. If I, under advanced options, add a new case. Come along. Let me go here and set this here. I'm going to set this as case number 2. I'm going to put a new case manager in here. View all. I'll put it as this guy. There is this field here. I'm not going to pretend that I don't see it. This is a field. I think it's on the family table. This is what I was saying is your back door. We do not really want you to use this, except for sometimes like end users just can't get the password right. Whatever the situation, and you need to move it forward. This is an option for your team. It will eventually go away. So whenever this new later update comes out, we're doing a lot with passwords and emails and that kind of stuff. It will go away because it's really not the right way to do it. The preferred way is really to force them to, or to encourage them. Let me use better terminology here. It's to use this link here. Okay. But sometimes you got to move on. Right here, though, back on this form, now that I've added a case 2, I can click on, this becomes editable for me, and you can see right here is where Mark is our social worker, right? Same information on the family table, but here. Those ads.
She's asking about sidebar links.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, and so great. It's sort of a great transition. Thank you for that question, Stephanie, because that's where we're gonna go. Okay, let me go here. I'm now feeling like trapped of like, where am I in this? Because I'm not seeing my fields on here in my organization. If I go to edit field names, it sort of resets everything back. So should it say default? Probably, but it also allows you to just get back. I am not going to talk about editing field names, actually like how that works and stuff. Here, we can talk about that on another call. Maybe Jess, you want to like make a note of that. Like it's complex. There's all kinds of nuances to that. So we'll deal with that on a different call. Okay, so adding a sidebar. Let me show you. Do I need to show you? I don't need to show you anywhere else. I'm going to just do it. Under advanced options, advanced form properties. Now, this is a spot where all of our systems look the same right now. It's wonderful. So here, down here, what I like to do is use the browser's find function for things. In guides, in our forms, we are doing more and more to make sure that we're using the same terminology all the time. So you can look up sidebar, and all I did was press Control F to enable this. I assume there's an actual link somewhere in the settings of whatever browser you use, but I use Control F to find it. And then I'm going to press Enter again. Right here, sidebar enabled for client forms. I'm going to click it and set it to yes. That is going to allow us to link the application form, the checklist, a form for home studies, a form for resources, a form for whatever we want to start to share. That's what I want you to do here. Okay, is have that set up for this portal page and this landing spot. And let me jump over here. And if I refresh this, I wonder what it'll do because I don't actually have anything here. It pushes everything over and gives me the space for it, but it doesn't, I don't have anything on that sidebar as of yet. So it's just empty, okay? But that's what we want you to do. Any questions on that? It's a pretty easy thing so that you know if you create other view forms, again, same concept works. That sidebar link is there. Oh, this up here?
Oh, those links. Yes.
Okay. These links. Okay. Yes. Thank you. Let's pull everything back. We may not get as far today as we planned, but that is totally fine because yes, I want you guys to know this. Okay. So let me jump out. Let me jump out of this. Under settings and public form links. All of your public forms have what's called a public forms header footer HTML. So this is where it gets a little bit techie. In general, everybody's site is going to look like our master, meaning it's white, it's got a spot for your logo, and it has some links here. Okay. If it does not, we can make it so. Basically, we like copy it, and what we do is change this color to your colors, and we include your logo that you give us. Okay, we can do that for you. Some agencies have been using SAM for so long, this may literally look like their website. It's all dependent on what you want because you can get really fancy with the HTML, or we can trim it down and we all use this, like in air quotes, like the standard of what something that our micro team can support you with better. Okay, so the wrapper for everything in here is the public form header footer, which again, in public form links, you can access right here. When I get into this, this is going to be like looking like Google garbage for a lot of people, but it is HTML and CSS that's in here that is the technical coding for the presentation that you see. Okay. Again, we can adjust it. However, at the bottom right here are where you can manage these links. Now, if it is in the default header footer, it is on every public form that you use, being if it is a family form, if it is a birth parent form, if it's a volunteer form. So if I jump back here, a link to the family portal is not going to be super helpful on a volunteer portal form, right? That's just not gonna, that's not what we want. So, what do I want to say? So, okay, there are on our forms, on each form, you have the ability to override the HTML. And what that may look like is going over here and copying all of this and pasting it in here, and then changing these links to be appropriate for the type of form that you're building. And in my opinion, honestly, like that, what's up here probably shouldn't be in our public or our default. It should actually be in the header footer for the specific family portal. This is where it gets a little bit like, again, it's technical. It's technical. And so it's not for everybody. And this is where a nice, like clicking support and contacting us saying, hey, I want this. This is what I'm looking for, and being nice and clear and providing us this link and things like that will be super helpful. As the more you guys can give us links, the faster we can get to that support. I mean, we can find what you need, but it just takes us longer. Does that help, Stephanie? That at least like gave you an answer, but okay, cool. But there's a lot to it. There is a guide on it, but I recommend you guys, once you know what you want, that's part of it, is making a decision about what you want. Oh, Dimitri's entered. I'll let him enter and be presently surprised with what he's getting in on. Apparently, I didn't tell our team not to join. And maybe if we have some technical question, we can ask him. He'll probably be like, please let me leave. Cool. Any other questions on that? Let's say, trying to think, do I want anything else? I think I'm good on that right now. Just if you wouldn't mind maybe letting Dimitri and Kent know kind of what's going on here. Cool.
Yep, you bet.
All right. Okay. So
the messaging piece.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Okay, so let's see. So what do I want to show you? I want to show you how it can look, and then I'll show you how you can edit it. And how it can look is like, it can look like anything you want, but I want to show you a form that's got messaging. Gosh, you know what? I think I have it actually in here. It's just on my other public family portal. If I jump in here, let's go here, this one. And I remember I'm going to go in advanced options and really advanced and open random record. Okay. So messaging, in my opinion, kind of setting the stage for how your families interact with this is going to be great. Your messaging, your style, what is it like to work with you? This is your opportunity to do that. Is to add messaging here, which comes up above the information. Oh, Jess, you're so cute. Comes above the information that's displayed here. Okay. That is done on your portal right here. So, well, let's say there are 2 spots to do it. Depends on how fancy you want to get and what your needs are. Okay. So there's a link here. You can click on it.
In the one where they've already got the family portal link, then that's already in there, and they can just edit it.
That's right. Yeah. So so what she's saying is sort of like, if you've got something in here already, like it came by default in your system and you're like, well, this isn't, my messaging isn't resonant to me, you can click edit this text right here. Okay. Edit the text and you can get in here and manage it, right? Like maybe you don't want that image there. Maybe you want to edit that image. That image is, I would actually do image editing outside of SAM in an image editing software tool and then size it properly. Jess, you've got a guide or video on that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah, I also have a couple of images if you just want something really basic that I can send to you that just say welcome to the adoption program or welcome to the foster program. But yeah, there is going to be a guide on how to create something like that in Canva, what the dimensions are.
Cool. So yeah, you can.
If anybody has questions on that, they can send it into support. I'll help you with that.
Okay. Then you just type in your message, right? Type your message, whatever you want to say. Over here, inserting image, inserting hyperlinks. You can edit the HTML if you want to get fancy. These are things that you can do. If I press save, let me find the one that it is the right one. Right here, if I refresh the screen, any of my messaging is going to show up over here. Okay. I'm going to keep it fairly high level with that because you can get really fancy with these things. But you can also keep it simple. You know, if you talk to your team and you like things clear, this is styling and personality choices, you know. So whatever sort of works for you is good. And I think there is a real good possibility that we could have an entire discussion on styling all by itself. Any questions on that? Because I actually want to get to some of the other thoughts and things that you need to do. Let me show you. If you have other forms that you want to link to, under advanced options is the Sidebar Links Manager. this is where you will add those forms. So you can add link here, and you'll title it, title what you like. There are some images. If you don't know what these images look like, you can view all images there and see like, oh, I like this auto actions. Great. I'm going to put that one on there. I actually never use that, and I probably should use it more often. And then you're linked into forms. These are all public forms that you have open. So what it's titled is going to be different per agency, because these are things that are specific to you, but you can add things on. A lot of times we will all have the checklist. So I'll pull that and I'll put in check, title it there. And then I can change the size of the text. This is sort of a styling option. You may want to enable, by default, we're obviously adding, we're enabling it already. We may say, you know what, pull back and disable a link. Shortcut add record link is like if we have a sidebar to communications with the family, we might have a little plus sign, which, let me go back to this cover page, looks like this, already added there, which will take them to an add communication form. I would say on the family portal, I mean, you can play with it, whether you like it or not. I haven't used it, but you can. Let's see. Sorry, guys. There I am. When I press save, I want to show this link over here on the portal. Now I have a sidebar link in a second when this refreshes. It says the checklist, and it will take me to that public form page, okay? The case checklist, I think, is just a separate conversation. We've got webinars on that, but I think we can probably touch on that in one of our next calls, is we'll talk on the checklist and how that works.
Can you sidebar link to a, not a form, but another web page?
You can link to other web pages. So here is forms. There's potential to use a template. I haven't really dealt with that very often recently. I think that option may just be here. We'll play with it, Jess, you and I haven't seen anybody have a need for that, except for it might be a spot for like resources, how that's displayed. So we might play with it and see what ideas we come up with that. I'm going to talk about the forms or anything, and this would be like, we want to go to a web page. Sam's website, right? So linking to your website, I'll do the world. I know how pretty this is going to start to look. Jump back, and I'm going to refresh that, and I'll have two different links on here in a second. Click here. I think when you do these, I think you have to do HTTPS.
Then you have the small text clicked on the checklist one.
Right, yeah, but that to me is like, that's your own personal, like some people like it big, some people like it small, some people like the image is big or small. You've got choices of different sizes. That's up to you what you like. So you can see now small words, big words. I think that's a small icon or a large icon, a little icon. I kind of like to keep them, if I use small, I like small all around. I kind of like small because I think that we tend to, gosh, what do we tend to do? We tend to write a lengthy title there. Yes, Sidebar Manager. I'm going to show that one more time. So from the family form customizer page, this is true for any form also. It's not specific to like only public forms or only family portal public forms. It's your internal forms that have sidebar links. The only type of form that can have a sidebar link is a view form. Edit forms do not have sidebar links. Advanced options, sidebar links manager. If you were to go into help, you could type in sidebar as a search and you will also find a guide on how to do that too. So just like other ways of remembering. Okay, I'm gonna go back over here. Cool, okay. I mean, this is great. We did all these things. So watch this video again and again. It's a long video, but it should be really helpful. Okay, so what I want to talk about on this particular screen is the fact of you've got to decide where in the process are you actually going to present this form to the family. Some people start it right out of the gate. Some people start it after they've become a client, once they've approved the application. That is totally dependent on you. But what I like to say is your process is important. Having these sorts of process charts and diagrams is really, really helpful for your team to visually see where things are happening. There's so much detail though, right? Like there are different layers to your process. So high level, we like to label like case stages is this really high level. You're at stage 1 through 7. But some of your stages, particularly this home study stage or like this home study to licensing through adoption referrals, that for some of your programs can take years. And so some of your processes within that repeat, where you may, like the home study, actually have a more complex process in there. And even within the home study, some things like background checks are needed repeatedly. You need it for every person in the home. You need that background check to be captured again and redone the next year with your new home study, with a home study update or a renewal. Let's see. Michelle, I would assume that if the sidebar link doesn't show, you may not have it as a view only form, is my thought. It may be an edit form, in which case you can change that. You can change that under advanced options, form properties, and make sure that that form is set as a view form and not as an edit form. And the last thing I'm going to say here, well, two things. I have two things to say on this. Dates are important. I really love dates, and I will really like drill that at you guys. It's a chronology of your process. Michelle, you can send that link off to us in a bit. But yeah, so it's a chronology of your process. I like dates to help you trigger things in the system. And I think that each of these stages have a start and an end date. There's a point in time where it starts. There's a point in time when that section ends. Sometimes the end is the start of the next. And so knowing that and just being clear of how that's going to be ordered will help you in figuring out what are the specific data entry points that we're going to use to send a message to our family that includes this link. It just helps you really place where that is. These kinds of guides are process workflows are available in the Get Started section. We are constantly building them. Gosh, is it here? Is it here? Where did we put it, Jess? Video tours, system syncings.
I think it's that family case process.
Is it this? I think this, yeah.
Is that the one?
Yeah, but I think yeah, okay, I know what we did. We decided to actually just do this and then show you how each of these sort of work in the system by default. I think we still want to add all the different ones that we have built like that, and we actually want to make that, I guess let's throw it out to you guys. Would that be helpful for you in building documentation for your processes, for us to have a starting point that you could actually just go in and like create a copy, save it, update it, so you can update and have your own, so that you guys can communicate with your teams? Is that something that you would like from us? Because we think about all these things, and then it's nice to, make sure we're getting it. We're getting what you want, not what we think you want. If you'll just write in the chat like yes, helpful or not helpful, that would be super great for us. But this is here for you guys, and we will go ahead and add some of the other ones in here that we have built for, like the birth parent case or the foster family case. I think is a lot the same as the family case, with some terminology changes. Even for the child's case, right? Like every of your entity types has a different case of how you interact with that record in the system. Okay, I'm gonna jump back out of that. Okay, because this is a heavy worded screen, but it sort of is based off what we just talked about. I can't go. Can I? Pointer. There we go. Okay, so where in the process will you share in the portal? The reason I've got that here is because when you have linked up to your process, you can then start to create templates and auto actions. Obviously, we're not going into that today. There are guides and things on those, but a template is how you get that message out, because every welcome to our program email doesn't need to be unique to the family. What might need to be unique is like dear family name, but that's what you create that template for. And that template then has the link, so your team doesn't need to go and copy the message from somewhere, put it into your email, copy information out of SAM, put it into the email. They can directly use a template, and SAM will automatically pull those things that make that message unique and have it pre-written. It's professional. It's ready to go also really, really quick. Pointing to specific dates in the process will help you build auto actions. When such a date happens, that's going to trigger this email to be sent. That's what's really happy. Happy. Well, it'll make you happy. An hour and a half might be a little long for me, to be honest. But let's see what data entry triggers. So again, I will just stress, I love dates. You guys hitting very specific dates will be helpful with you defining this process. Okay. Think about who's responsible for the message. Is it going to be a case coordinator? Is it going to be the social worker? Is it a supervisor? Who is it that's going to send that message? Having that information at your fingertips will help you when you have to go in and build it. Okay. Yeah, so now it's time to think about, what do you want on the portal? We're about to go into, as we end here in our last 10 minutes or so, talking about some of the ideas and what other people have done. If you were on our webinar call 2 weeks ago, you can certainly rewatch that webinar, but we showed some agency sites and the different things that they're doing. But really, it's time for your team to get together and make decisions on it. So what do you want to share with your families? It does not have to be every part of what your team sees internally, and I would recommend that it's not, right? But then on top of that is, before you go into SAM to build it, is pull together any resources that you need. What does that form look like, so that you've got it ready to go? Anything that you can do to put it into an electronic form where you can copy and then paste to create fields. It's going to save you lots of time of typing and stuff. If it is, you're starting to build a checklist, it's getting all your documents ready to go. If you don't have these things at your disposal, you have to then stop building in SAM, go get them, come back to SAM, add it again. If you have it all together at one time, it just makes things easier. You also want to like locate in SAM where that information is. And I guess what I mean by that is like, let me jump back over here to this family record. If you're dealing with a family, like make sure you're familiar with these sidebar links. Do I want to show adoptions? Cool. If I show adoptions on our family portal, do I know where my team goes internally to see the same thing? Being able to see it from both sides is going to be really helpful. Think about your messaging on the form. Do you want imaging? That's to that styling conversation. Then before you get ready to build the form, go ahead and write your messaging. What's been really helpful, we've set up one agency's database within 6 weeks one time. But what they did was typed out all their messaging after we went through like, what are your case stages? Then they typed out the messaging. This is exactly like transitioning your clients. I mean, it is transitioning your clients, right? But the conversations when you're like, if you were taking a kid from, we're getting ready to go to school when we did that. We're going to get ready to go sit on the computer and whatever, all your transitions. Communication is so important. But having that messaging all in like one single Google Doc where you can copy it, then paste it in. Copy the next thing, paste it in. That's going to be really helpful for you. Transitions are going to be helpful.
Would it be helpful for everyone if we made this screen that you're showing right now, these questions, available for them to download?
To think about these questions?
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, let's, everybody is screaming yes, which you said, Jess, let's share the slideshow.
Yeah.
Let's figure out how we want to do that. And yes, we'll make everything available for you guys.
Yeah.
What's my last thing here? I can't even read it. Do you want this portal to be found on your website? If so, you want to get whoever managers your website involved in this. You need to find that link where you'd like it to be shown and give your IT person everything they need. You do not have to share the portal through your website. The portal can be shared through templates in SAM, right? Templates, again, are like email communications. So having those templates ready to go is really helpful. Cool. I think that's what I want to say about that. Okay, so then let's talk about this. Let me get this pointer off. I think I'm done with that. Oops. You can see we're rushing into building this. Sorry. Let me go. And this thing isn't linked. So let me go and find this right here. Okay. So we're curious with you guys, what kind of things do you want to see on the family portal? What things are people sharing already? What things do you want? So we just sort of like, dropped out a bunch of ideas here, because this is, if we take a little like quick vote here, we can quickly say, and maybe we'll send this, Jess, what do you think? We want to send this through survey? Yeah. Because we only have a few minutes, but these are the kind of things that we're thinking about. We'll get some tallies up through our survey. So we really would appreciate if you'd enter that. That's going to help us build out like, what is our next month's Get It Done call going to talk about? Are we going to talk about checklists? What are we going to talk about specifically? Cool. So then I won't do this and we won't have a whole 5 minutes of us going through this, but here are some ideas. And again, we'll share that with you guys. Okay. Next thing is user updates. This big fat empty screen, because I forgot about it. So let me show you what I would love for you guys to do. We are starting to communicate. We've got a way now where we're pulling your users out so that we can communicate to those users. And we're specifically going to communicate to users who have full admin permission. Not everybody in your system, but those with full admin, because they have a lot of responsibility by holding that permission type, and they should know the information that kind of goes along, right? They should be educated about SAM with that responsibility. So what that means is where we're getting, and what we realize is, oh, we don't have all of the information we need on folks. We need their work email to be entered. So if they go to their person record and enter edit person, they can enter their work email. And that's what we're pulling. We're not pulling all their emails. We're just pulling their work email. And again, just for those folks who have full admin so they can be privy to all the information that we're sharing with everybody else. In time, we'll have a little setting of like, well, here's your email. And do you want to know this information so you can be a little more finite? But for now, that's how we're doing it. So if you would have your team, you can pull reports of this, of, you know, your team members, person records who are set as a team who do not have a work email, and send them a template, a bulk email through a template that says, or using a template. Yeah. Using a template that's like, hey, we need you to update your email address, your work email, and here's how. That would be super helpful for us. That's really the only update that we want. And that's it. That is what we have for you. So I know that that is a lot of information, and we're at the 1.5 hour mark. And now, like for most of us, it's like lunchtime. We're like, thank you. So anyways, the webinar will be posted in our user guides with the other webinars. So let me make sure that you see this again. In our guides, you can click to it at the top in your navigation bar. Let me jump to it again real quick. Navigation under help will take you over to this screen. Webinars is where all of our webinars can be found, and we've got them organized in what are we talking about specifically. So a lot of the one today will go into this family portal and forms webinars. We're going to add it there once it's all processed and ready to go.
The newest ones end up on the top. So if you're going back in, they'll always just be the newest ones on the top.
Yep. Okay. And then our next webinar is August 12th at 10 a.m. Pacific time. It is going to be the exact same link. You should be getting an email with the information. Jess, we did get notified, that not everybody got that. So we'll just want to double check with that. Let me brief mute. Totally working from home with a kid. How do I mute myself? Ethan. Trumpet.
If you didn't get the email,
trumpet.
Make sure that you've got your work email in.
Take it in. You've got 10 minutes to get ready.
So make sure that that's updated.
Yeah, that'll be huge. Thank you for doing that, Jess. And then the next one that we've got scheduled right now is August 19th at 10 a.m. It is a community call. We talked to folks on the community call. We're not going to record that. That is going to be more open forum. We are just discussing what's kind of going on in SAM world for agencies. We're sharing ideas there. That's really what's going on. My assumption is everybody that's joined has found that really valuable. I think that's the feedback that we're getting. So that's great. I just sort of decided to schedule, I think what I'll do is schedule the next Get It Done call. If you guys think this is valuable to you and you would like it again, we will do it. And I think it's actually going to be on August 20th. I need to take a vacation just like everybody else. And I'm kind of certain that the 27th week I might dip out of town. And I don't want to take a call on the road. So yay, good. Okay, glad to hear that the feedback here is this is going to be really good. You've got a good start, I think, on at least like getting things at the beginning. So all of our messaging of our upcoming events, we will be letting you guys know. Just, do we have a newsletter coming out?
We had one that came out last week, but we'll have another one in a week or two.
Yeah, with all this information, just sort of, to let you know, we are, again, really trying to build out the guides for you guys, do these calls so that you can build it with us at the same time. Just due to the nature of, I'll be honest with you guys, the nature of the size of our company and the pandemic and the working from home, and we just got notified that kids are not going to school. Like it's going online through November 5th, which very well may be like what it is for the rest of the country. Like my kids home with me. So it's going to be a lot easier for me to do these in bulk with everybody. But I think my understanding, the feedback that we're getting is folks really in the same spot. So a lot of the conversations that I have with people individually is literally the same conversation that I have with everybody. So I welcome you guys to join these calls. We'll ask you guys for feedback, I think, also on timing. We're never going to get it right for every single person, which is why we're recording most of them. But if there are better days for you, we want to hear that so that we can adjust where we need to. Anything else? Do you guys want to enter anything in chat? Does anybody want to open up and talk? Right? Save it for a few minutes.
And Michelle, if you want to put that sidebar thing into the support, I'll get back to you. I'll check it out.
Yeah, I guess just if you want to put into the chat, did everyone find or build this today? Was that actually happening? I know we only shared twice, but I think thankfully technology worked out for us. Yay. Cool.
Nice. Awesome.
Yeah, that's really great to hear. I'm really glad that some folks were able to do some things. Well, listen, yes, David. Good. Awesome. I'm so glad. So I think this is, again, how we will do these sort of going forward is these group discussions. If we need to shrink them down, we're going to kind of talk to you guys about that also, if we want to do sort of a cohort model. So look for things coming out, talk to us when you need, hit support, use the call link if you need to. If you need individual attention, we are still here. Though we're limiting our schedule at the moment for that, but there's still time. There's still time out there, and use our support link for sure. If you have any more questions, I'll hang out for another 2 or 3, 5 minutes or so. Otherwise, thank you very much for coming to the call today. We really appreciate you guys joining.